Okay, we're back. Hey, folks, this is Rotor Storm 331 back again for another guide of Final Fantasy VII for beginners. This guide is going to help mostly help players learn all about each of the party members' stats as well as limit breaks in general. So I probably won't be going over stuff like Montiera and ultimate weapons and whatnot, but I will be mentioning some things in general uh, for certain characters. So our next guide is Barret. We already did Cloud. Once we get done with Barret, we'll have 6 more characters to do because we already did Eris a while back. So basically, we're going to be covering Barret next. Barret is pretty much our second party member that joins up at the start of the game. Like I said in my guide for Aerith, he is basically the polar opposite of Aerith, having very high physical stats, but pretty low on magic and everything else. So, in regards to his rankings against other party members, Barret has the highest HP in the entire game, ranking first. He ranks 8th at MP, second on strength with 99. His dexterity is also the lowest, being at 53. Has the highest vitality at 100. Surprisingly, Barret has actually the. Anyway, that can't be right. But anyway, Barret has 133 for magic. That was kind of shocking when I actually did the guide. I didn't really boost him up through sources or anything like that. It just came up as is. I could be wrong, but Spirit is at 8th with 87. He has the set. He's tied with Sid with the lowest luck with 27. So yeah, it was pretty shocking when I compared stats. I did make sure that uh, with weapons and gear not applied, he didn't have anything that boosted it. But it was pretty shocking when I found out he ranked third for magic stat because I thought Vincent would have ranked third, but he winds up coming down to fifth actually. So yeah, this is pretty baffling in general in regards to the when checking the magic stats because Yuffie actually ranks fourth in magic. Barret being third highest is pretty baffling because you would think that Vincent and Kite Thief would be the better magic users, but actually there's probably no reason why he has a very high magic stat, and that's probably because of his ultimate weapon that he has currently equipped, the Missing Score, which of course when you have mobile Max Moniera actually boosts up its damage output. So probably because of that, he actually gets a pretty high magic attack as a result, thanks to this weapon. For the most part, Barret does definitely do well with the cover Moniera, and of course, if you pair that up with counterattack Moniera, he can return fire as well. One good thing about Barret is that he not only equips ranged weapons, but can also equip close combat weapons too. So he can easily fit into any role that the player needs. So if you need him as a range fire, he can sit in the back row and fire away. Or if you need him to for close combat, he can definitely switch to any of those weapons and deal damage with those too. So basically, Barret transitions from being a physical fighter to basically a magic user by the time this game comes to an end, especially after Aerith leaves the party. And thanks to Missing Score, that actually helps solidify him being one of your go-to mages. It's actually kind of funny when you take a look at that. But now that we've covered Barret's stats, let's go ahead and check his limit breaks next. So we're going to be covering Big Shot, which is his first limit break. And this attack, which serves as his default limit break, deals 3 and 1/4 times normal damage. Basically, it's basically his very big, huge attack that he gets earlier on. So I recommend start just using that up until you get access to Grenade Bomb. Mind Blow was pretty interesting when I researched this move. You have to use Big Shot 9 times, and then after that, once you get access to this ability, this allows Barret to deplete the enemy's entire MP. And strangely enough, this is actually treated as a gravity element attack. So this is actually one of the few limit breaks in the entire, or a couple of limit breaks in the entire game with an elemental infused property. So of course, I'm pretty much assuming this will actually fail against enemies that are immune to gravity, but this is pretty interesting find in general. So Grenade Bomb, which is probably called Fire in the Hole in the remake series, this is actually his next limit break at level 2. You'll have to defeat 80 enemies, and this deals 3 3/8 times normal damage on a single enemy. When done against mobile enemies, this deals actually less with mobile foes. So this actually reminds me a lot of Saban's Meteor Strike because it deals less damage when there's mobile enemies, but against a lone target, it deals way more. So this was actually kind of shocking to find out a Grenade Bomb actually deals more damage to one enemy, but deals less against mobiles. But given Barret's very high strength, it doesn't matter because he'll easily almost defeat most enemies with this attack in general. So this will actually help gravitate Barret from being a single target fighter to basically hitting mobile enemies. Hammer Blows is next limit break. You have to use Grenade Bomb up to 8 times, and this inflicts instant death to one enemy, but will fail against those that are immune to death. So basically, earlier on in the game, when you're not dealing with enemies that are immune to instant death, this is actually a pretty dang good limit break to use against those foes, especially if they're very hard to bring down. But towards near the end of the game, though, this is going to probably drop off in usage. Coming up next is Barret's level 3 limit breaks. Satellite Beam is his first one that he gets, and you'll need to defeat 80 enemies to get access to this after a Grenade Bomb. This allows Barret to deal 2 3/16 times normal damage to all enemies, and they're treated as automatic critical hits on all enemies. So this is actually one of the few that limit breaks you do get access to that allows you to basically hit all enemies for critical hits as opposed to just one hit damage. So basically, this should be Barret's go-to clean sweeping on normal enemy parties once you get access to it. Anger Max is probably considered to be Barret's best limit break. This rivals Catastrophe in some parts. This allows Barret to attack enemies up to 18 times randomly for half damage. So if you were to max out everyone's stats through source farming later in the game, this actually becomes Barret's more powerful, if not his best limit break to use. But unfortunately, to probably balance it out, it only deals half damage. But if you watch all those videos where players will use Anger Max and do all sorts of crazy stuff to get very high damage, this will actually be his best limit break to use. This actually rivals Sid's high win limit break for having the highest amount of hits. And as always, it's best to use it against single targets. Catastrophe is Barret's final limit break he gets. So regardless if you succeed in stopping or failing to stop the train from crashing into North Coral, you'll get access to this from talking to the woman in one of the buildings in North Coral. And you'll get this limit break manual. Of course, you will need to have learned all of Barret's limit breaks in addition to access to the manual. So basically with Catastrophe, this hits all enemies up to 10 times, and it deals 1 to 1/4 times normal damage. So in terms of level 4 limit breaks, this is probably the third highest in terms of multiple attack damage, but it pales in comparison to Cloud's Omni Slash and Sid's High Wind. But it's still a pretty decent, good level 4 limit break. But again, this one actually does way more damage against single targets rather than multi-targets. And that pretty much concludes my guide for Barret. We'll be covering Tifa next. I'm going to take a few moments to rehydrate my throat, get my thoughts in order, and then we'll be